Good morning, late morning, Monday morning. How's it going, everybody? Danny Boy Reginald, Bill Corpus Crispy, here with you, and we thank you for always joining us.
What's up, folks?
Episode number 427 of SIP right here on the Sports Center Network YouTube page. First things first, I want to thank all of you who came by and watched us go nuts over Yankees versus Mets. The Subway Series finale of the 2025 Major League Baseball season. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for joining us with that. It was fun, you know, talking smack with Old Ops guy and shooting the shit with him, the Put Master Rifkin as well.
Oh, it was a blast yesterday. Hi, folks. Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy here. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, we had a good time doing that yesterday.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Bill, thanks for coming in too. I was very happy to see you there, repping our Yankees. You know,
Someone's got to around here.
well, it would have been me versus two Met fans. Like that's the thing.
Hey, it was now a fair fight.
Exactly. So, we'll talk Yankees Mets a little bit later on. Not a great series for the Yankees. A much better series for the Mets. Both teams still trying to find their footing. Mets been a little better of late. They ran into the Brewers and ran into a very struggling Yankees team, so they're in a much better spot than the Yankees are. But we'll talk about that in just a second. We also got some All-Star game rosters to reveal. But we start off with bigger news coming out of Washington. This is major news all over my TV screens last night. Uh, the Nationals have decided to relieve General Manager Mike Rizzo and Manager Dave Martinez from their duties. Obviously, those two engineered the first World Series in franchise history, so that obviously is getting recognized, and we appreciate their efforts there. But the Nationals, I want to make sure I have the record correctly. The Nationals are 37 and 53 in dead last place in the National League East. And no matter how many young prospects that they've tried to bring up, Bill, they still haven't been great. They still haven't been trying to win. And at some point, it's just very frustrating to have to see that. Now, it comes at probably one of the worst times because the Nationals do have the number one pick in this upcoming MLB draft. But you gotta win in this league, Bill. I mean, I'm sorry. Like if this is year four after tearing it all down. Like you gotta start having some wins at this point.
Oh, totally agree. Totally agree with you. If after year four of rebuilding and you can't win, then I'm sorry, bro. We thank you for your attempt, but time
Yeah.
to go there, brother. Time to go.
Yeah. And it's tough because, look, especially with Mike Rizzo, he was responsible for building that World Series team. He was responsible for getting Strasburg. He was responsible for getting Bryce Harper. Obviously, Bryce Harper was not part of that World Series team, but still, Bryce Harper is a great player. Like, you know, you obviously can't ignore the great things that both Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez did. But at the same time, I think Washington fans want to win. Like, I stare into that ballpark, Bill, and it's quiet. It's empty and it's quiet. Can you imagine a Yankee Stadium that's empty and quiet? Like we would go
Oh, I
we
can
go
imagine.
nuts.
I can't imagine it.
We go nuts. And that's how Nationals fans feel. They're pretty exhausted of the losing.
No, no, I can see that. They probably are exhausted.
Yeah. Now, of course, Davey Martinez has been the hot water lately because um, with his recent comments about how it's never the coach's fault for the bad play, it's always the players and everything. And look, obviously that wasn't probably wasn't his best moment, but I don't know, man. Like that's just not a good mentality to put in your team and stuff. Like there's just a lot going on that just didn't work out. It just didn't work out, and they need a new voice. I totally agree with that.
Oh, absolutely. So the Nationals now have a new coach. Oh, well, no, they're going to
Uh,
look for a new coach. Sorry.
well, let's see. Who are they? Did they name a an interim replacement? Let's see.
Bless you.
Do.
Well, they're going to be looking for a new manager probably at the
Yeah,
end of all
they'll
this.
probably for next season. Mike DeBartolo, who's in he was in the front office with Rizzo. He'll be the interim general manager, and the manager seat is vacant right now. Um, I'm assuming they have the day off today, so I'm assuming that they'll name an interim manager pretty soon. So obviously take the day just to chill out, work things. They have a nice core though in Washington. One of their players, we'll talk about this a little bit, is going to participate in the home run derby, and James Wood. It's just a shame. It's just a shame that they just couldn't figure it out because Martinez and Rizzo, they're good guys, but not necessarily the best. Well, Dave Martinez wasn't a great manager. Mike Rizzo's a great GM, but it didn't work out when you're losing. When you lose, it's always a recipe for disaster. It never works. You gotta win in professional sports. That's how you make your money. That's how you gain popularity. It's a business. This was a business move by the Lerner family, and look, hopefully whoever ultimately uh, replaces both of them will bring continued success to the franchise.
Now, we wish whoever it's going to be the very best. I think it's too early to start speculating, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think it's too early to start speculating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, so to the chagrin of our dear friend, the Patch Man,
Yeah, who's probably thrilled.
big change is coming in DC.
Huge, huge. The timing is kind of weird though, given the draft is next week. But you want to make the move, gotta make the move. But the Mark Lerner has to hit on these new hires. He has to get it right
Oh,
because
he does.
the future is definitely on the line here for DC. So get it right. And we'll obviously continue to follow that stuff on Batter Up. I'm sure we'll be breaking it down a little bit more when we come back for live shows next week.
So yeah, big changes in DC. And yeah, next up, the All-Star game is next week.
Yeah, the All-Star game is next week, and we have All-Star rosters to break down, Bill.
Yes, we do. Do you want to take one league and I'll take the other?
Sure.
Which one do you want to do?
I'll do the National League.
Okay,
Want to do the American League?
I'll do the American League.
Sweet.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is your starting lineup for your American League All-Stars. At catcher from the Seattle Mariners, Carl
Cal
Raleigh.
Raleigh.
Cal Raleigh, who has been a beast lately.
He's insane. I think he has like what 35, 36 home runs, something like that. Like he's outstanding. He's outstanding.
First baseman from the Toronto Blue Jays, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Good. He's been tremendous this season.
Yes, he has. Second baseman from the Detroit Tigers, Gleyber
How
Torres.
about Glaber? Good for him.
Good for Gleyber. At third base from the Cleveland Guardians, Jose Ramirez.
Hmm.
At shortstop from the somewhere in West Coast Athletics. At shortstop, Jacob Wilson.
Okay.
From our beloved New York Yankees, in outfield, Aaron Arise Judge. Also in outfield, from the Detroit Tigers, Riley Green.
Hmm.
In outfield, also from the Detroit Tigers, Javier Baez. And our
Hmm.
designated hitter from the Baltimore Orioles, Ryan O'Hearn.
O'Hearn, who has been raking of late. So good to see O'Hearn as one of the starters of the American League.
So who's gonna be pitching now?
Mm.
Well, because I think we all know American League All-Star games are usually whatchamacallit. They're usually bullpen games anyway.
Exactly, yeah. Oh my God.
I'm telling you all the truth here. They're usually bullpen games.
Right. I believe
Okay.
Scooble is going to start, if I'm not mistaken, for the American League. If not, Max Fried.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel bad for these American League players. You know why? Because they have the unfortunate pleasure
Right.
of one night being managed by Aaron Boone.
Yeah. How should they feel about that, Billy Boy?
I wouldn't be thrilled, but usually, for those who don't know, the tradition is the managers of each team are the managers of the team who won the pennant the previous year.
Right.
So Aaron Boone will be managing the American League team, and will be Dave Robertson will be managing the National League team,
Right.
since both the Yankees and the Dodgers won their respective pennants last year.
Mm.
So yeah, you guys all have the unfortunate pleasure of being managed by Aaron Boone for one night. Enjoy that. Enjoy that.
Golly.
Enjoy that. They're not going to enjoy that, are they?
He'll mess up the bullpen and the National League will obliterate us. That would totally be Aaron Boone like, right? Like,
See, even in the All-Star game, Aaron Boone does Aaron Boone things. I don't like Aaron Boone things.
oh my God.
In the words of our dear friend Mike Rifkin, Reg, there goes the Boone. Okay, so who do we? All right, would you care to share with us with National League?
National League starters, catcher Will Smith from the Dodgers, first baseman Freddie Freeman from the Dodgers, second baseman Ketel Marte, good for him, from the Diamondbacks, third baseman Manny Machado from the Padres, shortstop Francisco Lindor, we just saw him all series, from the Mets. And then outfielders, you have Ronald Acuna Jr. We talked about him yesterday in Batter Up about hey look, He only has played for a short time, yet he's a starter, which, I want to reiterate, Bill, I don't care. If you're playing well, if you're playing at an all-star level, you're playing at an all-star level. I mean, you're in because of your talent. You're not in because I get part of it is probably because it's in Atlanta, but you're in because of your talent. So I don't necessarily care that he's the starter. Um, I don't know how you feel the same way, but you know, says second outfielder is Pete Crow Armstrong, who's been tremendous. He's from the Cubs. Also from the Cubs, Kyle Tucker. He's an outfielder. And then, of course, your DH is none other than Mr. Shohei Ohtani.
The We've been saying, dude, I think this guy was made in a laboratory, to be honest.
You think some Japanese laboratory developed some type of human
Superhuman.
growth type of thing where they built this guy named Shohei Ohtani and became a megastar in baseball.
Yeah, dude, it's not totally far-fetched.
Oh God. Can you imagine
Dude,
that?
in the world we live in, does anything seem far-fetched anymore?
I mean, AI is about to take over my job, so no, I guess not. Uh
Nothing is that crazy anymore.
yeah, but you know what? If we had that type of laboratory in the United States, the Yankees would have like 80 World Series right
They probably would.
now. Because they'll be absolutely killing teams across the country.
Yeah. And nah, like they would be, the Yankees would probably have near 100 World Series.
Insane, dude.
It'd be insane. It would be absolutely insane. So, okay, the All-Star game is next week, and we'll have more on that. Next week we might be doing a home run derby live stream like we do every year, but we're not 100% sure yet. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah. Looking at all these all-stars, and we're not going to go through much of the pitching. You want to see the rest of the roster, you can go online. MLB's website has it all over the place. No Juan Soto.
Really? No Soto. So I think we should call
I
him
I,
So
I don't
No.
I don't see him anywhere. Well, and yeah, I, I'm not that shocked. Only because he got off to a slow start. He started picking it up recently, and he's gonna have when it's all said and done, he's gonna have a good season. Like I'm not necessarily worried about his numbers or anything. I guess given the fact that the National League competition has been pretty solid. Like I mean, the National League has some great players. So I guess that it just wasn't enough for Soto to get in as at least as a reserve. I mean, I'm kind of shocked. He's now on the bench, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah, so it looks like So No, right? Am I right? So
So
No.
no.
So No.
Oh man. Um, Good to see James Wood get into the All-Star though. He'll also be in the home run derby as we go through the home run derby participants, Bill Murphy.
Yes. Shall we pull those up?
Yeah, man.
Okay, so our Home Run Derby 2025. All
First superstar participating in the home run derby is good old Ronald Acuna Jr. We talked about him already.
From the Atlanta Braves.
He was the first one to enter the derby. Um, and we'll be doing it in front of the home fans. Obviously, it's always great when you have your home team participating in this. I think I know Bryce Harper did it when he was with the Nationals back in the day when DC was hosting it. He was in the home run derby. He actually won it. So that was pretty dope. Ronald Acuna,
Yes,
this will be his third time participating.
yep.
I think he's lost two times. The two times that he's participated, I think he lost twice. So trying to get his first. Cal Raleigh, he's in the home run derby. It says here that this was July 3rd. It says here he has 33 home runs. He obviously has more now. But Cal Raleigh is going to be participating. That's always good to see. I'm very happy for him. James Wood, he's been tremendous. Um, and of course,
Riley
go ahead. Sorry,
Riley Green from the Tigers.
Riley Green. That's always good.
Byron Buxton.
Love Byron Buxton, big time home run guy.
Sounds like the most pompous name ever, but what you gonna do?
Well, he kills everyone in the American League, Byron Buxton. So
Byron Buxton. Kyle Schwarber from the Phillies.
Kyle Schwarber. I mean, good that Kyle Schwarber can show off his home run magic again. Like that's pretty dope.
Junior Caminero from the Rays.
Yeah, he's also had a pretty nice season and has been huge for the Rays throughout the stretch as they're trying to compete for the division. So, and he's a major power guy.
And from the Chicago Cubs, Saya Suzuki.
Seiya Suzuki, baby. Um, a lot of good names. A lot of good names.
So yeah, this is home run derbies. We'll be honest, they don't mean anything, but they're usually very fun to watch.
They usually are. I mean, especially when you have stars playing. They're not a lot of star power here per se, but a lot of young players. I will tell you that much. And it's good to see that. It is very, very, very good to see that.
Oh, absolutely. It's very good to see all the stars out.
Yeah.
So yeah, home run derby, that's next week. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
All right. So next we have the Subway Series this weekend and if you're a Yankee fan like us, it wasn't that impressive of a series this week, was it?
No, it was bad. It was bad. Yankees lost 6-5 in game one. Game two, we don't want to talk about that. That was an absolute rout. And then they win game three. My biggest question is, did the Yankees turn a corner yesterday? Because leading up to yesterday's win, it was a lot of, well, giving up the pitching, giving up a lot of runs. The pitching has been terrible. And then the bats going quiet. So, and then of course you have the manager who's clueless out there. You know, remember how everyone called Joe Torre clueless? Well, Joe Torre was clueless, and Aaron Boone is just, I don't even know how to describe Aaron Boone. Question is, did they turn the corner here? Bill, I have a really bad feeling that this is going to be turning out to be one of the worst seasons in Yankees history. I really do believe that.
Well, listen, what we got coming up, we got the before the All-Star break, we got the Mariners starting tomorrow. They got an off day today.
Yeah,
We get the Mariners tomorrow, which, as we say, Cal Raleigh has been an absolute monster.
yeah, and I mean the Yankees they did beat the Mariners early in the year, but that doesn't mean anything anymore because we have players that are hurt. We have a depleted pitching staff, throwing out a bunch of idiots out there right now. Like I don't know what to expect from this Yankee team anymore. I don't know what to expect. So we have right now the Mariners, and then of course we get the Cubbies, both at home before the All-Star break. I'm gonna need the Yankees if they want to prove to me that they're actually going to be in it throughout the rest of the season. They got to show me something here. I need to see, at the very least, 2 out of 3 both ends of this of both of these series to give me some type of hope. Because if it's another disastrous week like they had last week, where they lost pretty much every game, then we're going to go into the All-Star break with a lot of questions
And
and
very few answers.
very few answers, and we could be hovering 500 when it's all said and done.
Like right now, the because the Yankees record is because the Yankees record right now, they're only a couple games over five. They're only 8 games over 500.
Right.
They're only 8 games over 500 right now.
I just think with the pitching staff as depleted as it is, the hitting wise, they still have the players hitting wise that could come out at any time. It's the pitching staff that I'm like really worried about. This whole thing is starting to remind me a little bit of 2023. Yankees get off to a fast start. You're thinking, oh, they could do no wrong, right? Until they started getting hurt, and then they started losing and getting hurt as well, and didn't recover. This is what we're coming to right now.
If the Yankees don't do well, if they miss the playoffs entirely this year, do you think it's time we revisit the Fire Boone conversation?
I think it's time to revisit it now.
No, I agree with you.
Like we always have these conversations about things running its course, right? We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Boone got lucky last year because the Yankees were the more experienced team in the American League. The American League was very weak last year, as it is this year. The American League is still very weak. The American League doesn't have big time power, not as much as the National League does. But I will acknowledge that the competition this year is a tad better because everyone has more experience. Yankees had the most experience last year. They had World Series champions on their roster. They've had players that have been close yet so far, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So they had the experience on their side in the American League. But then when it came to the National League, when they faced the World Series, when they faced the Dodgers, they knew that they did not have the experience anymore, and they were absolutely exposed. So at some point, when do you start having those conversations about run its course? You need to start having those conversations now if you didn't have it 5, 6 years ago like we did.
No, like we've been having this fire Boone conversation, bro. We've been having this for years.
Well, we were talking about it before we restarted this show about Aaron Boone. And this is when we this is early on in Boone's tenure. Like we didn't know we're still questioning whether or not Aaron Boone is the right guy because all these Yankee teams have been so good, yet they continue to miss out on the big prize. And 5 years later, we have done this podcast 5 years. We're still talking about Aaron Boone, and we're still talking about whether or not he's the right guy. Like, does that start to like think about it, Bill?
No, to be honest with you, Boone should have been gone after 2023.
Like, think about it. We're still having these conversations. Why are we still having these conversations?
If George was alive, Boone would have been
He retired
gone.
already.
Boone would have been gone 23.
Yeah, and that's another issue. And look, people don't want to talk about the Steinbrenners because it doesn't matter. No, it does matter.
No, because you know what?
But
Here's the thing: is Hal Steinbrenner, you are in a club that values excellence.
yeah,
And listen, you know what? I don't like to be this guy. I really don't. But this is a club that is a club of excellence that has 27 rings,
yeah.
that has won 27 World Series titles. And again, I know all the Yankee haters out there are like, oh, shut up. But no, it's the truth.
Um,
Like with Hal Steinbrenner at the helm, Reggie, are we going to be a club that values excellence or are we going to be a club that values mediocrity?
yeah.
Am I, please tell me,
I
Reggie,
just don't think
am
I
I
just
crazy?
don't think no. I just don't think his kids care about the winning aspect. I just think they care about the fact that they own a baseball team that's very valuable and that they make money off of it via whatever the seats, the concessions, and all that stuff,
The
right?
Yes Network.
Yes Network, that too, which that's up in the air because James Dolan's trying to off the MSG network, and they're trying to do a little merger with the Yes Network, so that might be up in the air a little bit, you know.
Oh, could you see Hal Steinbrenner and James Dolan working together?
As business partners. Oh, that'd be great.
No, because you know what I think the thing is? Their egos are just way too big.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It would be like, and I'm not getting political here, but it would be like Trump and Musk. No, no, but no, listen, can you really see Hal Stein? Okay, now Hal's a little more on the quieter side than his father. Hal's a little more on the quieter side than his father, but I think he's still got that Steinbrenner type, hey, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
But getting back to the point here is Hal Steinbrenner doesn't realize you're not your daddy. And another thing, should we throw Cashman into this too?
Yes, but that's part of the problem. You're not your daddy, but you still have to invest in your franchise. And yes, we should bring Brian Cashman into it because he's been there for over 30 years. He's been in the front office for almost 30 years, over 30 years, excuse me.
He's
And
been
as a
GM
GM
since 98,
since 98. So this is what, year 28?
27.
Well, yeah, 27 year, but yeah. So well, once it's 2026, it'll be year 28.
It's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, but just because you won four World Series, four, not five as GM, because he was not GM in 96.
Right.
He became GM in 98.
Right.
But since when did winning those four World Series? I'm about to ask a very dumb question here, Reg. Since when did winning those four series, and you haven't won a World Series since 2009?
Yeah.
Since when does that grant you immortality?
This is, and here's another thing,
Since when
Bill.
does that grant
This
you
is,
immortality?
Bill, this is the second leash. This is the longest leash he's had with a World Series, without a World Series.
Listen, if
From
I'm House
2000
Stump,
to 2009, massive leash. From 2009 to now,
like, you know what? Let's look. From 2000 to 2009, how many World Series did the Yankees made? They made four. 2001, 2000, yeah, well, 2000, 2001, 2003, 2009.
yeah,
How many, but, and like, even in that time span, you lost in 2001,
yeah,
you lost in 2003, not a World Series, but 2004, you,
right.
you get embarrassed after being up 3 games to none.
Mhm.
And then what? You get mediocre playoff finishes.
Yeah,
And then from what, 2009 to 2025, how many World Series have you been in? Let me save you the math. One.
and you lost it.
So, no, I think the Steinburners have given Brian Cashman way too many
Like,
chances.
can you imagine this massive leashes that
Any
Brian
other
that
owner,
doesn't exist. That does not exist in any part of sports.
any other owner, if George was alive, he would have been gone years ago.
If George was he got sick what, like 2007, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if he was still well enough by '08, I think Brian Cashman would have been fired.
You know what it is? I think the problem is Hal Steinbrenner's holding on to Cashman because
Yeah.
hey, he brought my dad great success. So if I hold on to him, he could give me success.
I
But
think he's also afraid to look at the market.
what do you mean? Look at the market, see who
Well,
else is out there.
this is all this Brian Cashman is all he knows, right?
And listen, change is not easy.
Hmm.
But you know what? I think if Hal Steinbrenner had any brains, I think when this season's all said and done, I think he needs to call Brian Cashman in his office and say, go up, shake his hand, say, Brian, we thank you for your service to our organization, but I think it's time we go a new direction.
Yeah. Let's see if he
You
actually
have
does
until
that.
tomorrow to clean out your office.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be nice, say, you know what? I
Mm.
think we need to look for a new GM, but we'll keep you on as like an advisor. We'll keep you on as like an advisor or something.
Mm. I think we need to part ways with him entirely. Like, I think we need to part ways with him entirely.
And Boone, I'm not even giving him a thank you for your service. I'd be,
Mm.
Aaron, get the fuck out.
No. He don't deserve it. Get the fuck out of here.
I would say just take.
Um, rough stretch for the Yankees. Um, they were on a 6 game losing streak. They're 1-6 in their last seven.
This is
It's
embarrassing.
it is embarrassing. It is very embarrassing. It's embarrassing that you had a big lead in the AL East that you blew, and now, of course, the Blue Jays have a 3 game lead, and now you're playing catch up right before the All-Star break. And again, I just have a really bad I have a really, really, really bad feeling. The injuries to the pitching staff, these guys that are pitching right now are giving me massive, massive headaches. Um, Hitting is okay. It's not the greatest. The pitching staff worries me. I think they're going to blow the season because of the pitching staff. I really do. If they if they're really serious, they would go out and try to get a starter.
No, I agree.
You have a trade deadline coming up.
Because you got, let's see, you got Cole out for the year. You're gonna have Schmidt out for the year, and who else?
Yeah, cool. Well, Schmidt's gonna it's gonna be a long time for him. Tough break for the kid. Tough break.
Mark Schmidt, like
Yeah,
you're in deep trouble.
yeah. Um, Sunday. One thing for sure that we can be happy about is Max Fried. He goes 5+, only gives up 2 runs. So I think he had like 5 strikeouts, whatever. Um, so good job holding the Mets to only 2 runs. Bullpen, of course, gave us a heart attack, but at the end of the day, Yankees were able to close it out. Not a good weekend, but great way to salvage what would have been disastrous for the Yankees.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the Mets swept the Yankees, one, I'd never hear the end of it from Mark Oldop's guy,
Hmm.
Mike
Yeah.
Rifkin, Samantha Black, if you're watching. I know I'd never hear the end of it from you.
Yeah.
But take it this way, if the Yankees won, I don't think she'd hear the end of it from me.
Yeah.
Sam, if you're watching, I'm just having a little fun. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. That's Yankee talk. I'm thinking of a Bombers banter bill. We'll talk about this off air, but like a first half recap type of thing.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, we
Yeah.
could do that. We could do that like next week, maybe. We'll talk off air.
Yeah, sure, sure. Expect a Bombers banter where we recap the first half of the season and then preview the second half. Rest of July into August.
And talk about how screwed we could be.
It could get worse. I'm telling you, it could get worse. That's the tough part.
Now, that's the hard part. That is the hard part. This could get worse.
Yeah.
So check that out next. Whenever we do it, we're going to have a Bombers Banter recap.
Yep.
So check it out.
Google.
All right.
Um, Real quick, did you see all this Kevin Durant?
Yeah,
Uh,
this is confusing. I'm going to need you to help me out here.
so, the Kevin Durant trade was completed. He is now a member of the Houston Rockets. Um, but in order to get this deal officially done, they had to move around a bunch of both teams had to move around a bunch of draft picks, which included several other teams, Bill. Get this. Everyone involved in the deal. The Rockets, the Hawks, the Nets, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, and the Suns, which moved 6 players: Kevin Durant, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Clint Capella, David Roddy, Daquan Ploden, one first round draft pick that was used by Phoenix, um, and then 12 second round picks that were also moved. In addition, a second round swap with the Hawks. Yeah, I'm not going to explain the whole deal because
We'll be here
because,
forever.
it's way too confusing. There's a lot of teams. I think a lot of teams just got a bunch of draft picks, but it took 7 teams, Bill, 7 teams to complete this Kevin Durant deal.
Seven freaking teams. Can
What?
you believe it?
What?
This is just as crazy as it sounds.
Oh my God. Just to move one player. My God.
Wow.
It's just terrible. But when it was all completed, Kevin Durant became officially became a member of the Houston Rockets. Um, and then of course, how about this, Bill? Clint Capella going to the Houston Rockets as well. I was kind of shocked by that. Um, he played very well with the Hawks, and now the Rockets get their big man center. So um, let's see if it works out. Let's see if it works out.
Totally
100%.
agree.
All right. I do want to send my love and all of the massive hugs and prayers and condolences to those in Central Texas for this awful, awful flooding situation. I mean, Bill, they're talking like eight in the 80s now in terms
I
of people
heard
dying. I mean, I just my heart breaks, especially for those people from that camp that are the girls' camp that are unaccounted for.
27, I heard.
Again, I don't know that hopefully that number got lower. The more I look at this, the more I just I cringe. It's just so bad. Um, well, we now know that I think it was like 11 people, including a camp counselor, a beloved camp counselor that had passed away from these floods. Just absolutely devastating to
Oh, I
see.
heard about that.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Um,
Absolutely horrible.
yeah, so the thoughts and prayers over to those in Texas right now, whether you are family that suffered through a loss or just in general, like it's a loss of life, but also loss of your property because of these floods. I mean, it's just never that is just not something you wish upon anybody. So, sending my thoughts, prayers, condolences, all the love over to people in Texas right now. Just absolutely devastating.
No, that's absolutely horrible. Or thoughts and prayers with everyone right now.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyone to anything else, or I think that's it.
You can like, comment, subscribe, push that bell for the notifications. Um, Follow us on our socials. We're on the Sports City Network. If you go to at S Insanity Real, uh, both Facebook and X, and then continue to follow our website, thesportscinetynetwork.com, Bill.
Yes, check us out. We're on all platforms. It's great.
Hmm.
Check out our bios and everything, and check out our podcast available on all platforms. So, yeah, I guess in the words of Imagine Dragons, there's nothing left to say now.
Peace and love, and we'll be
Stay
back on
safe and take care.
Friday.
We'll see you on Friday with a top five.
What is it?
We'll let you know.